field blast off, watch them all fall. This is AFC North talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock 'em out. Ay, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North talk.
Welcome to another edition of AFC North Talk. It's just me and Ace for now. Q's on his way, and J-Rock cannot make it, but that doesn't matter. We're here. We're live. Season, I can feel the season. And Ace, we're going to start with the preseason talk here a little bit, but I went to the game to the Ravens, and I was hyped, right? Preseason, I'm missing football. I'm hyped. And then
I saw it didn't rain, by the way. It didn't look like it rained.
It did not rain. It was supposed to be pouring, and it did not rain at all. So, because I bought the tickets, I was like, man, if it's gonna be pouring, I'm gonna just bail. I'm not gonna lie, I was just ready to bail.
It's preseason, bro. We understand. Like, if it was a real game, yeah, you should stay. But backups and guys that aren't gonna make the roster, yeah, you can get up out of there.
I agree. So I'm watching this game in the preseason, and I'm like, some point during the mid first quarter, I said to myself, now I know why we don't want the preseason. Like, I'm watching this game, I was like, this is just bad. There's Kenny Two Gloves there, right? I'm watching Kenny Two Gloves, and I'm like, this is so bad. And then Nate Wiggins was amazing, by the way, for the Ravens.
Yep.
I couldn't make it the first half. I left with like 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. I'm like, I told my daughters, like, you know what? I stayed enough. It's good enough. Let's go. Nothing to see here. And he just left. My daughters were excited. My daughters loved the whole environment and you know the intro for
was it packed out? Was it a bunch of people there, or?
I mean, there was a fifth maybe of the stadium. And the crazy thing is, all these tickets are sold. I don't know how the Bengals do it, but if you're a season ticket holder, which is, think for M&T Bank, it's like 90% of the stadium, right? You buy the season plan, you have to buy the preseason. You cannot say, oh, well, I'm going to buy the season, but not the pre. No, they make you. So they sell this, and then people just don't go. Like the tickets I found, this lady probably paid like $90 per, and I got it for 20. Right, because she wasn't gonna go. I have a couple of friends that have tickets, and they're like, we're not going to a preseason game." So, for me, I wanted to see Nate Wiggins, and he looked the part. Not gonna lie, he looked the part against Kenny Two Gloves. For some reason, Kenny Two Gloves just wanted to throw a Nate Wiggins area, and Nate Wiggins getting DPDs, right? And then the other thing I wanted to see was the O-line. The thing is, I guess there was not stars for the Eagles, but the O-line looked good, right? There's a competition for the O-line position. The rookie Rosengarten looked good. Fahalele is not a tackle no more. Now he's a guard, which I guess makes sense. Yeah, his feet are not quick enough. The dude is giant, though. Ben Cleveland, they're making him a backup center, especially with Tyler Linderbaum not playing. Voorhees looked good. Voorhees was really good. And Makari was the other right tackle fighting for the position of the tackle position, and he also looked really good. So the O-line looked good. Again, we'll see when it's actual. I was gonna say actual players, but when they starters. Trent Simpson was the other guy that played. He played a lot. He was all over the field. He definitely he was making himself felt during the field. So him and Wiggins on the defensive side, definitely. I was good with what I saw. Now, the sad part was Wiggins at the end of early in the third quarter, I think it was. He got hurt, shoulder injury, and he's gonna be out 1 to 3 weeks. So he should be back for regular season, but no more preseason. What do you saw in the Bengals game?
Yeah, the Bengals game was pretty exciting to start it off because it's the first time maybe the first time. I think we've only seen Joe Burrow before in one quick series, and most of it was just him handing the ball off. So this was the first time we've actually seen Joe Burrow play a full series passing the ball and all of that in a preseason game. And he looked really good. Like he started off, him and Higgins clearly are on the same page. He started off, I believe, 5 for 7. The 2 incompletions were a deep bomb to Higgins where it hit Higgins in his hands, even with double coverage in the end zone. Higgins just didn't come down with it. And I believe the other one, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he started out on fire. They drove down the field, got a quick touchdown. He was able to hit a couple of different receivers. So no Jamar Chase, but he was able to hit Andre Yosivas on a nice play. He caught one over the middle from the slot position. Trenton Irwin had a nice catch, and T. Higgins did their thing. But at first, there was no Burton. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, where is Jermaine Burton? What's going on? Like, he's not out here. So first team defense went out, got a 3-and-out. So that was cool. Then the whole like second unit just played awful. Like the second unit was not good. Dax Hill played really good at corner, which kind of surprised me because I kind of thought that he was going to struggle playing outside corner. He actually was like the best corner out there.
So they're making him a corner again? Because I know they have him bouncing him between safety and corner.
So Dax Hill in college, he played multiple positions, mainly safety, but he did play nickel corner. He played a lot of nickel corner, actually, and then he played a little bit at outside corner, but we're making him completely an outside corner. So he like really was impressive. He was breaking up stuff. I think there was only one completion made on him, and like it was just a crazy play by the receiver. He almost had an interception that he dropped like once he hit the ground. So I was really surprised. Like he looked better than DJ Turner. CTB didn't play, and Dax played a long time. He played, I think, into the second quarter because I think they were trying to get him comfortable at that position. Didn't see much from the safeties to start off. They might have played just the first series, and that was it. Pratt looked good. Outside of that, the most exciting part was when Jermaine Burton entered the game. Like he wasn't even on the second team offense. So people were like, what's going on? Because he had like an ankle injury one practice, but he came back. So people didn't understand what was going on. And they were playing guys that were like practice squad receivers in front of him. As soon as this guy gets on the field, like he's immediately making plays. So like deep bomb, he catches, I think a touchdown was his first catch. It was like a 40-yard touchdown where he hit a double move on the guy. It was pretty nasty. And then at the end when we were coming back, he had another like 40-yard bomb again. I think he had 3 receptions, 83 yards, and a touchdown. So a lot of people were like, we need to put him with the first team. So he looked good. There was an undrafted rookie that was just
receiver
linebacker that was going crazy. His name was, I think it was Jong Meta or something like that. He had like 10 tackles. He was going crazy the whole time. Like a lot of people are like, okay, let's play him with, I think he played with the second team. He was the only person making plays on the second team. And then he played with the third team. And everybody was like, we need to see him in a little earlier just to see, because he kind of looked like the best reserve linebacker. But obviously it's just one game. But I think he had like the highest PFF grade if you put stock in those. Dax Hill had a high PFF grade if you put stock in those. The guys that struggled, Zach Carter was horrible in this game. Zach Carter, this is kind of the usual suspects. Zach Carter, Jackson Carman had like 4 penalties in this game. Like
I forgot that Carman was still there.
Bro, people were calling for him to get cut after the game. It was so bad. I don't know how he got like an average grade on PFF because it looked horrible. And then the defensive interior, like I said, Zach Carter, Chris Jenkins was a mixed bag. He had like a stop, but he was horrible in run defense for like our run defense was like horrible with the second and third team. It was really bad. They didn't start BJ Hill or Sheldon Rankins, so they sat out this game. But it was, I mean, the Bucs ended up winning, but it went down to the wire, and nobody's going to play for overtime in the preseason game. So they ended up coming down.
There's no more overtime. They finished tie. It used to, but not anymore.
Okay, so there is no overtime. Okay,
no
because it just seemed like we just kind of gave up and we're like, yeah, it's preseason. So that was pretty much it for that. I think that's the only time we'll see Burrow, but he did look really good. So I think that was the best part of it. The offense seemed to click. And the fact that Jamar Chase wasn't there was pretty impressive. The run game struggled a little bit, though, as well. Chase Brown, was the only back. Zach Moss didn't play. So Chase Brown got in there. He had a good run, and then everything else was just a stonewall at the offensive line. So I think a lot of people are probably concerned about the rushing offense as well. Diddy saying outside of the penalties, Carmen was okay. I was seeing Carmen get blown up in the getting pushed back, but
push around.
Hey, I'm not an offensive lineman. I'm not gonna pretend like I know the intricacies of offensive linemen. I leave that up to asking Willie Anderson, "Hey, does this look good?" But it didn't look good to me. I don't know. So Carmen, struggled for the most part.
Our offense was trash because Josh Johnson was not good.
Josh Johnson is up. How is he still in the league, bro? Like Josh.
Who are the quarterbacks that y'all have on that roster right now behind Lamar?
This is Josh Johnson is QB2.
Y'all brought back Trace?
No, Trace got signed by somebody else yesterday. No, remember we drafted kid from Kentucky. Levis. Was it Levis? Not Levis.
Not Levis.
It's L.E. something. Hold on, I need to find him. His name is Leary. And then we have Amari Jones, but
would you like to trade a 5th round pick to get Tyler Huntley back?
So this is the thing. The Browns, if you tell me who has the best gamma of quarterbacks right now, there's an amount of guys that should be in a roster. All the Browns, you guys have Winston, you guys have Huntley, and you also have DTR.
I heard hitting y'all up, Q. I heard the Vikings was like, "What's up?" The Vikings was trying to get one of them QBs.
They might try to get. If I were them, I would try to get DTR because that'd be worth starting for a year, right?
Yeah.
They run kind of that Kevin. He's better at running the Kevin O'Connell stuff than he is running this new stuff. That's who I would be like if I were them. I would throw a 5th at. Why not? Right? It's better than going out there with Sam Darnold and if that does what Sam Darnold does, then what? Then you gonna want to switch to something else. So I would. It will at least give the people there some hope. Oh, maybe we might stumble on something, and then you can trade them.
Okay, we have a super chat, and then Q, I want to hear your takes on the preseason game for you guys. The 180 says last week Q said that Aiyuk, the Browns are still better than the Steelers at every position. That is narcotic talk. Pittsburgh's better. Right. In linebacker, safety, wide receiver, and QB.
I'm not even going to acknowledge that part of it. But wide receiver is crazy. Without Brandon Aiyuk, you think you have better wide receivers than the Browns? Please tell me more about how you don't need to be talking right now. Also, my connection got lost. Okay, well, you guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can still hear you.
Okay. So also, I would like to add, dude, if you watched the show, you would know I ranked the Pittsburgh Steelers linebackers above the Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm. We haven't done.
So what is your issue? What is your issue? Again, man, I'll be telling y'all this. People just be making up versions of me to argue against successfully because they can't win an argument with me. And this is a clear example of it. Yeah. Do I think Pittsburgh has better linebackers than Cleveland? I literally said so last week. I ranked them number 1, didn't I?
I was gonna say Q ranked them.
I said they got the best linebackers in the division.
Yep, you did.
Come on.
And he in wide receiver, he's saying if Aiyuk is there, that they have better wide receiver than the Browns with Aiyuk. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, debatable.
It is debatable.
Brandon Ayuk's production's on par with Amari Cooper's right now. The Browns also have Jerry Jeudy, whose production is pretty similar to what George Pickens has had. And then Elijah Moore, I think that's better than what Calvin Austin is your 3rd or Van Jefferson. I'll take the Browns.
So, saying that, the Aiyuk thing has been super interesting to me. And with this, we'll go to the ranking because all the smoke. Oh, he's going to Cleveland. He's going to Pittsburgh. He's going to New England, right? And I actually think the money that he wants is not out there from none of these teams. And I think that he's saying, looking at if I'm not going to make my money this year, I might as well go back to the place that I know system and I know my place and I can ball
You talking
out.
about Aiyuk?
Yeah. I think we're very close. And Q, you alluded to this, and I did too. The market on which is sad also for T. Higgins, the market for the wide receiving position bursting. I think we're very close to that. You still will get paid the Jamar Chase, right? Like that top tier that should get paid. But the receivers here, and this is what we were talking last week, they're getting like NBA players that are good and getting max deal, like that max for no reason. That's how some of these receivers. Like, look at man, Calvin Ridley got all that money. And you saw he was dropping balls, and he was like, "Yeah, it's my fault." Just he's like, "Yeah." Basically, he was like, "Yeah, I don't really want to be here." It's the vibe that he gives you. I'm like, dude, you just got paid.
And with the Titans.
Yeah, in practice, he was just dropping balls, deep balls, and he said like, "Yeah, it's my fault because I'm not in it." That was the video that I sent to the chat.
Hey man, that's been the rap on him for a while now.
Yeah, and like that, So I think the receiver market might be bursting soon, but it's very interesting. I don't think he gets traded actually, unless one of these teams is really desperate.
You talking about Calvin Ridley, or are you talking about
Aiyuk? I don't think Aiyuk gets traded because I don't think New England's willing to pay him whatever he's asking. I don't think Cleveland's willing to pay him whatever he's asking. And I don't think the Steelers are there ready to pay him whatever he's asking.
I don't think that's what this Aiyuk thing is about, to be honest with you. The longer and longer it's gone on. Here's what I think this is. I don't think Brandon Aiyuk wanted to go. I think they called his bluff. Like, he said, I want to get traded. But has he acted like somebody who actually wants to get traded? Like, when there are 3 offers for you with contracts that are equal to what you want from 3 teams, you usually figure out how to get that done, right? You want to get traded, that gets done if you really want to get traded. So I think this was all San Francisco saying, oh, you really want to get traded? Knowing he ain't want to get traded, saying, here's a deal for Cleveland right now. You can go to Cleveland right now. You want it? Oh, no, I want to go to Cleveland. What about New England? I don't want to. Every team that's had an actual package to draft him, he don't want to go to. And then when Pittsburgh does have a package, now we're waiting weeks, right? They said the package was done. Now we're just waiting for Brandon Aiyuk to sign off on the deal, and it's been 2 weeks. Does this sound like a man who actually wants to get traded? Or does this sound like somebody who got their bluff called? Because the more and more this goes on, this sounds like somebody who kicked and screamed, said, I want to get traded to force a contract extension. And then the 49ers said, okay, we'll do it. Found all these trades.
Do you think it was a leverage play on his side, like showing them like his team?
Yeah, you got to show you willing to walk away from the table, even if you not, to try to get what you want in a situation that, because the only leverage Brandon Aiyuk has is withholding his labor, and the only way he can withhold his labor effectively is if he gets traded. But if he doesn't really want to get traded, then he's just playing poker, and they just called his bluff, right? Like that's been what's happened. Like, it doesn't make any sense from any other lens. If Brandon Aiyuk really wanted to go to Pittsburgh, why isn't he in Pittsburgh? This does not happen. Pittsburgh is not so dead fast that they're not willing to offer. Like, they've said that they were willing to change the offer. There's always something. This, like, you ever try to set up plans with somebody, Ace, and something always coming up?
Yep.
And you just like, dog, tell me you don't want to kick it. Just tell me you don't want to kick it, right? This feels like that for Brandon Aiyuk, where it's like, oh, every time something about to happen with Brandon, something pop up, right? Nah, you don't want to do that. It's like, oh, you just don't want to kick it. And we called your bluff on it, and you had to act weird about it. This is definitely, in my mind, what has happened, because this doesn't make sense that he actually wanted to go. Like, this only makes sense from the perspective of he wanted to force the 49ers' hand, act like he wanted to get moved, and the 49ers said, bullshit. Let's see. That's why we heard all these reports about these deals that were done. Like, when do we ever hear that about a trade that's not about to happen? Like, when do we ever hear that the Browns have a package that the 49ers are willing to accept if Brandon Aiyuk wants it? We know the team's the one that put that out. Brandon Aiyuk wouldn't know the specific details of who's getting sent out and who's not. They put that out. Why would they put that out? To say, hey, he bullshitting. He don't even want to go.
I mean, I didn't thought about that.
If you're the 49ers, would you trade Aiyuk? That's the only thing. Like, I don't with them just coming off of a Super Bowl appearance.
Nobody wants to trade him. He don't want to get traded, and they don't want to move him. This is just them. This is just them having this is them having a messy ass argument and then pulled in 3 other teams. This is basically what they did. Like, this is a contract dispute. This was always going to end with him in San Francisco some way, somehow. But they just brought these other teams into it because they messy, right? And that's just where this negotiation has gotten. They got messy, but they don't want to leave, right? They got every other team out here feeling like that one dude, right? In a situation where like, oh, she might become single. No, she don't want you. She want to stay with the man, dog. You just part of this now. Yeah. Like, you just got pulled into the vortex. Congratulations, bro. Like, that's what it is. Like, if the Brandon Aiyuk thing, this feels like he ain't never want to go. He just want to get more money.
It's like Blind Date on Netflix, where they just string the person along. They already know who they want to be with, but they just stringing the other person along, and then they have to sit in that thing and be like, "Yeah, it's somebody."
Look, this Brandon Aiyuk situation reminds me of why I'm very glad I'm not out there in these streets no more. Because this is what they call on bullshit. Like, that is the best description for the audience. Brandon Aiyuk is on bullshit. That's what it is. He on bullshit. That's what it is. Yes.
By the way, I forgot this. The only team that he openly said that he wanted to go was the Mandos.
Brandon Aiyuk is the dude that tells you
the Steelers. He said the Steelers and the Commanders, but yeah,
Brandon Aiyuk is the dude who tells you he's single when he living with his baby mama. Don't believe him. He not serious, dog. Like, he is Jody from Baby Boy. This man is not for real right now. Like,
the 188 says Q. Deshaun has been cheeks for the last 2 years. When he's been healthy, when has he been healthy? Stop it. And then
what are you talking about? Hold on, let me respond to that, because this is like the pinnacle of what I say. I'm willing to have conversations with people who disagree with me, but all you're doing is saying like he was cheeks when he's been healthy, not offering any kind of like compelling argument behind that, no actual numbers. Like, I thought on this show, at least, we prided ourselves on not just saying shit, right? Like, that's one of the things that we bring to the table that you might not be able to get elsewhere, is that we are not just fans of all of these teams, but we're informed fans who are willing to make real arguments that back up what we want to say. We're not a Twitter space where you just want to say your team suck, they cheats, LOL, and then get on with it. If you want that, you could go on Twitter and get that. But we out here actually try to talk about football. So if you do want to criticize Deshaun Watson, talk to me about it. I'll talk to you about how you really are judging the player off of 6-game sample size where he was in and out, and that's really not how we judge players. But at least we would be having a statistically based argument, except instead of you saying that you have an analysis of Deshaun Watson as cheeks. Okay, cool. The 188. Who the fuck are you? We need actual numbers if you want to make this argument. And that's it. That's it. That's all I want. Let's talk football. Let's talk football with football. Let's do that. That's what we're here for. We're not here for that.
And then Darth Vader says, I find your lack of faith in Roquan disturbing.
You're not Darth Vader if you just sense that from me.
I want to know who he's asking, to be honest, because if it is from me, I said that Roquan was the best linebacker in the division, but the room...
You know it's not from you, Sonny.
It might be Sonny gets it by proxy because I'm so anti Roquan Smith.
No, I
just bring everybody else's faith in Roquan Smith down.
No, I heard it this week. Sonny, why you didn't rank the room first? We have Ro. Okay, I think when I put the Cincinnati, I said that I thought Roquan was the best, and then 2 and 3 are the Cincinnati Bengals dudes, right? Wilson and Pratt. So, and then that I thought our fourth, that he's going to be good, he's going to be good. And he played good in the preseason, but right now he has no stats to support that. Okay. And then we have another from 188 says the deal for Aiyuk is there. It's the 49ers. I guess so the 49ers are holding the deal. I thought reporting wise, I heard
Dog, if he wanted to be there, he'd be there.
in Pittsburgh or in
Yeah,
whoever.
yeah. If this deal wanted to happen, it'd have been happened. You remember how we heard that the Judon deal was almost done, and then it happened 20 minutes later?
Yeah.
That's a deal that actually wants to get done. This is a deal that don't nobody want to do, except for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, if Brandon Aiyuk really was okay with being traded, if he was so fed up that he was no matter what, he wanted to get out of there, then he would have been out of there. But he blew his leverage the second he started talking about, oh, well, I don't want to play here or here. That's not how requesting a trade works also. Like, you request a trade, you say, I want the money. Fuck the bullshit, I want the money. That's what you're saying when you say I want to trade, right? Is I don't care where I play. I want to get paid what I'm worth. Mm-hmm. If I withhold from my job saying, oh, yeah, I don't want to work here no more unless I get paid, I'm not about to be picky about where I work next. I'm like, I want to get what I'm saying I want. If somebody offers it, I'm taking it. So how you get two teams that offer it and you don't want it? Mm-hmm. But you want to be traded.
You don't want to be there. He didn't want to play with Drake May.
Yeah, he don't want to play with Drake May. No, he don't want to move from San Francisco. Yeah. If this was about money, he would have been moved. New England got less state taxes than California. He would have been out.
Everywhere.
Been out. He would have been out.
Yeah.
But he don't want to go. He want to stay in San Francisco. And I think Steelers fans, y'all just got to eat that one, man. They used you. They used us, the Browns. They used y'all. We both sitting here like, oh, you used the data too. That's what it is, dog. It just is what it is. We got played. Take it for what it is.
And then Mark Irish here saying, and by the way, thank you for the sticker as well as this, says, only one QB in the division has a ring. And it took me a minute. Russ? Yeah, it took me a minute to think who. But it was Russ.
That is sad. Damn.
Yeah.
Woo. That really what y'all bragging about Russ? Y'all don't even want to start him, from what I hear, coming out of Steelers camp.
He's supposed to play this weekend, I think. So that's going to be really interesting.
Hey, man, the Browns had Joe Flacco last year. We were the only team with a quarterback in the division that won a Super Bowl last year, too. Did it get us out the first round? No, because he won that Super Bowl a decade ago. The same as Russ. By the way, it's been over a decade since Russ won that Super Bowl. Think about that.
Russ won it the year after Flacco, so 13.
Yeah, 13. Yeah. It's been 11 years.
He could have had two, dog. Could have had two rings.
But he threw that interception to Malcolm Butler. By the way, Malcolm Butler had a smooth 5-year career after that. Purely based off getting that one interception.
Yes. Yes. Did he get paid by the Titans after that?
You said what?
He did.
He went to the Titans. Got a little bit of money there.
Yeah. No, he had a smooth 5-year career after that.
Okay. That being said, let's talk about CBs. No safety talk in this one. It's just corners. Next week will be the the safety show. Okay. We'll start with you, Ace. Who is your fourth in this room?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the room, I think that this team is a little thin when it comes to especially the nickel cornerback position. Right now, I don't know how true this is, but right now they have a college football free agent that was drafted, not drafted, signed from this seat. I don't know if this is Steelers fans. You guys let me know. But right now, they've got a guy that I've never even heard of at the nickel position. And for that reason, it's going to be the Steelers here for me. You look at the completion percentage that they allowed. If you're looking at Dante Jackson's last 2 years plus JPJ, I think JPJ is a good young corner. But Dante Jackson brings this completion percentage up to 63%. That's the highest allowed within the division. The quarterback rating, they're also the highest. It's 89. There's other people that are close. Cincinnati's close, but they're 88. 324 air yards given up, the least amount of tackles when it comes to that. So to me, it's Pittsburgh here. Look at the depth. Who is their third corner? Is Dante Jackson actually good? Dante Jackson is also close to 30. That's the other part of this. Mm-hmm. They're also one of the oldest rooms within the division. So for me, that's what it kind of comes down to. I just feel like there's other rooms that have better depth. They're a little light at the top. And if they have any kind of injury, I don't know who's going to be out there. They drafted the guy, I believe his name was Trice last season. But obviously he went down in camp. We never got to see him. I think that he does have potential. I don't know if he can play nickel, and that's just the biggest thing for me. In a league where teams are playing with 3 receivers on the field, majority of the time, that nickel guy has to be good. This guy's name is Beanie Bishop Jr. Ever heard of him? Anybody?
No.
Never heard of that guy ever
Bishop
in
Jr.
life.
He's a rookie. So
Beanie
I
Bishop
remember
Jr.
scouting him.
I heard of
Never
Beanie
heard of
Rose.
that guy. Thomas Graham Jr. Never heard of that guy.
So remember,
Zion Gilbert. Never
got-
heard of that guy.
They got Sutton. But Sutton is
Darius Rush. Never
Is
heard
Sutton
of
out
that
of
guy.
like legal issues yet?
he has an 8-game suspension.
Woo.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I guess that's why he's not on the roster. I guess he must be under the suspension. I think Cam Sutton's pretty good. Like that would make it more arguable. But I mean, as it stands right now for 8 games, maybe they're their best room after, or they're a better room than my third place team after the 8-game suspension. But as it stands right now, dog, I think you can't go into this season with a nickel corner that was an undrafted free agent. That's just kind of crazy. So I got the Steelers at number 4.
Yeah, in this division, you can create a lot of matchup problems in the nickel, right? Like the Ravens, which will be the one that everybody said, well, the Ravens have no receivers. Yeah, but the Ravens can put tight ends in the nickel that can create matchup problems. And obviously, the Bengals have good receivers, and the Browns have good receivers to create nickel problems or problems for your nickel cornerback. Cute.
Number 4 here. Ooh, Baltimore got real lucky in the draft, didn't they? They got real lucky. Ooh, it was this close. But it has to be Pittsburgh, right? I don't think it's a bad room, right? You got JPJ. Eventually, you'll have Cam Sutton back. They brought in what's his name? Dante Jackson.
Yep, Dante Jackson.
Yeah, Dante Jackson.
Dante Jackson. You know, it's a better room than they had last year. I think a lot of teams upgraded in this room. I think it was like, I joke about it being the Ravens. I think this was really between probably Cincinnati, in my opinion, and Pittsburgh. The reason I'm going with Pittsburgh here at the 4 spot, just outside of JPJ, I don't love the depth. Like, it gets real questionable after like the second guy on the third guy on that depth chart. It starts to get super questionable where it's like, hey, will these dudes be in the league for a couple of years? So like that's where my issue is with Pittsburgh is, boy, if there's an injury there, then you're talking about playing somebody who might be an undrafted rookie free agent, like just with one injury or something like that. So that's why I'm more on Pittsburgh being here at 4.
Yeah, I have Pittsburgh also at 4th. And Q hit the nail on the head for me, lack of depth. Also, we talk about Johnson. Johnson hasn't played with the Steelers yet. And this is something that I keep hammering because I've tried to be consistent throughout, is can he fit well? There's always a fit question, right? Now, the Pittsburgh have been able to get away with subpar corners in the past by great pass rushing, right? That's how they pressure the quarterback. Corners know this quarterback has to throw quick, and then the corners can make plays. I love JPJ. I will say this. I liked him coming out of that draft. I wanted the Ravens to draft JPJ, and he surpassed my expectations. I liked him a lot. I think JPJ is a great young player. The only problem that JPJ has is if you get a ref crew that likes to call the holding, then he's ineffective because he's grabby. He definitely is grabby. If they let him play, he's going to be great because he is a really good, young, talented corner. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers got a steal. When you go back and think about how they traded Maple, what was it they call him? Claypool? Anyway, Mapletron. They traded Mapletron or Claypool for JPJ. Hell of a trade. After that, there's a lot of question mark. Cam Sutton is good. Having an 8-game suspension is not great, because you cannot practice with a team or anything. So as people are trying to get in shape now and be football ready, that's what you need to do coming back in week 7. So we'll see with that. But yeah, the lack of depth definitely is what holds me back. Now I will say this, because this is a point that I said about the Bengals also when it comes about O-line, how the Bengals, even though they haven't hit all the time, they definitely have put an effort. And I think when you put that much effort in a room, you will get it right at some point. I think the Bengals, if they're not close, if they're not there, they're definitely close. The Steelers also are trying, but not necessarily with young guys. They're doing with vets. I was surprised. The thing is, Steelers, that they have a couple of position groups that have a lot of holes. They have linebackers. They brought PQ. O-line, that's the position that they've been drafting players, right? So they can pump. And with corners, they took Pat Pete, and now they put Quinn Johnson, right? So because they're trying to get that vet next to the young guy on JPJ. We'll see. And like if Quinn Johnson hits, then definitely there's a good 1-2 punch. Again, Ace mentioned the nickel corner. That is a concern because again, I think in our division there's a lot of matchup problems that you can present in the nickel from the other three teams. And if you have an inexperienced guy, that definitely is a position that can be exploited. Remember, you are only as good as your weakest link, and it's big hole if you have a big weak link in that nickel position. Okay, let's go in number 3, Ace.
Yeah, this one is, I think, really close. And when I look at the room, I actually feel more confident about the other team, like as far as their scheme, as far as what they're going to do. Now, one of the reasons I'm not sure because the defensive coordinator that they had a background in being a secondary coach and defensive backs coach. So if he was still here, I would probably rank the Baltimore Ravens over the Cincinnati Bengals. But the reason that I have the Baltimore Ravens here is I believe in Marlon Humphrey, right? But after that, Nate Wiggins could be good. We don't know if he is or not. I think the kid will be solid. The only thing about Nate Wiggins is we just saw him get hurt in a preseason game. He's a little on the thin side. That's the only bad thing that you can really say about him. But playing in the division like the AFC North, can he hold up is, I think, a legit question when it comes to that. Then you talk about Brandon Stevens. I think he was decent last year, but at the end of the day, it's Brandon Stevens. Jalen Armour-Davis is probably going to get cut. So I think you're probably dependent on a guy like TJ Tampa, who also was a pretty good corner in the draft. The only thing is we have to kind of see it from that standpoint. So for that reason, the defensive backs coach, like if Mike McDonald was still there, I think I would have a little bit more faith. But the fact that they kind of have like a first-year DC, former player, I don't know if he has the development that they would need there. And Sonny, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you guys lose a secondary coach as well or no?
We lost D lineman coach.
I don't think you guys lost the secondary coach, right?
I'm not. I have to check now. We lost a bunch on the defensive side, so I'm not gonna lie. I remember.
And so I would feel better if you guys still had Mike McDonald there because I know Mike McDonald's going to develop those guys, right? But from that standpoint, that's the only question. And I believe in Marlon Humphrey. I think Nate Wiggins will be good. And if Nate Wiggins is good, I think statistically Baltimore could end up being one of the top secondaries in the division from the cornerback position. Because when you look at their numbers last year, they were really good. Like really the only bad thing about Baltimore, and I say bad, but air quotes, is they have the oldest, it looks like, secondary in the division at 27 years old. But I think their scheme holds up well. But with it not being Mike McDonald, I just don't know where it's going to be at. So I feel like if they had that continuity on the defensive side from a coaching standpoint, I would believe more in their ability to develop these young corners, especially in their rookie season.
So we did lose our DB coach. I think we have our corners.
Yep, DB coach, defensive coordinator.
We have so many coaches; it's hard to keep track. We have a coach for every single position group. So,
and when you lose a defensive coordinator and they become a head coach, usually they take some of those guys with them, right? It's like, oh, let me bring this guy, let me get that guy.
He didn't take too many. I think the guys, because the ones we lost their DC, so we lost our D-line coach, and he became the DC of who was
He was there 2 years before he got that job, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And Mike McDonald, when he was first with the Ravens, he was the secondary coach, right? He was a defensive backs coach.
Man, McDonald moved to a couple different positions. McDonald basically grew up.
That's what it says on Wikipedia, but I don't. But like
he just grew up in Baltimore. Yeah, he grew up
Yep.
in Baltimore, so they kept moving him until he went to Michigan, and then in Michigan
came back.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I will say this: 3-2, I have been close. But for me, my 3 is the Bengals. And I think it's because in the case of Baltimore, there are these two groups are good, but there's question marks in both. And in the case of Baltimore, I'll address it when I say the rankings. In the case of the Bengals, in my opinion, is inconsistent play. I think, like probably most Bengals fan, I do like Taylor Britt. I like the potential of DJ Turner. Dax Hill, as we were talking before the show, they had him as a safety. They have moved him as a corner. And this is something that Stevens went through, by the way. And last year, he landed in the corner position and he played great, right? But the constant moving of a young guy, it was always leery for me. I've seen a lot of young players that just messes with their career. And again, this is Baltimore has done this also. This is not me just accusing Cincy just doing it. So when I see those 3, which is their core, I think they're inconsistent in giving points. They're all young. They're all still growing into their position. Mike Hilton is the ultimate blitzing from the nickel guy, and he plays a really solid nickel position. So I think the next 3 teams, including the Bengals, I think they have good rooms, but 2 of these teams are not as consistent, in my opinion, as the number 1. Both of them have room to grow and to be a top room in the division. Not in the division, in the NFL. I think the Bengals could be a top room corner-wise in the NFL, and my number 2 as well. But for now, because the lack of consistency that the Bengals corners have shown to me, you can see flashes how good these players could be, right? I seen play from Taylor Britt. I seen Turner. I don't remember any good plays for him, but I remember scouting him from Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. And Dax Hill also shows you flashes here and there. But again, the movement, I don't know if he ends up being. I don't know what they want to do with Dax. I don't know if they want to put him as nickel when Mike Hilton.
No, he's going to be an outside corner, straight up. They've already said it. He's going to be outside.
So then DJ Turner is also outside, and then we are talking about Taylor Britt outside.
So Turner, they moved in the preseason game. We saw him play in the slot. So they moved DJ Turner inside. They had Dax on the outside, believe it or not, and they had him on the inside.
Okay.
Yeah, they switched Dax to just regular corner now.
Yeah, that's
outside corner.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, it could pay out. Again, Stevens ended up being a great corner for us last year. I'm not gonna say, it's gonna be bad, but we have to see it, right? I think he was at the end of the season. I can see he was getting a little bit more comfortable being a safety. He still was making mistakes, but definitely you can see maturity. Like I talk about Hamilton all the time, how his first couple of games he was not that he was decent, he was bad, and the maturity just taking reps in the position. So you might have that time with Dax as well. We'll see. I think Dax is a good player. But for now, that's why I have the Bengals as number 3. Q.
Is Dax Hill kind of like the Rashad Bateman of DBs in this division?
No, because Dak plays more than Bateman. Bateman gets hurt more.
Is it the hurt thing that's hurting Bateman? Or is what he doing when he not hurt that hurts Bateman?
I have questions about what he does when he's not hurt as well.
I'm just saying, yeah. Like, I know it's easy to throw that he hurt thing out, but anyways.
Fair point.
not to be negative Nancy here. Baltimore and Cincinnati are interesting here. Like, if I could give it a tie, I would. I think I'm gonna give Baltimore. Well, this really depends on how you feel about Marlon Humphreys. Because, like, on one hand, you could say Marlon Humphrey is the star power at the corner position. That kind of puts it over the top for Baltimore because you could like all the other stuff, right? They got Nate Wiggins. I thought Brandon Stevens was like low key their best corner last year. You know, they have like small, tiny little pieces like Arthur Mollett to throw in there, right? Like kind of a tweener. And it's not a bad secondary. It's definitely not a bad corner room. I think Cincinnati probably they don't have the name that jumps off the page on that in that secondary, but I think the unit overall is better. So I'm gonna go Baltimore 3 here. I just don't know what Hump is anymore. Like, is this one of them things where we're still kind of coasting? Like, where is he versus where we thought where he was a couple of years ago, right? Where he was like legit.
He was hurt basically all year.
Yeah. So like, was it just injuries with Hump, or like did he legitimately lose his step? I'm not 100% confident that it's like a simple answer there that he's just gonna get healthy and things are gonna just like miraculously kind of heal themselves up there. I think that it's possible that he's much better than he was last year, but not necessarily reaching those same peaks that he did in 2020 and 2021. So that's my concern there. I thought Brandon Stevens was really solid, especially for how the Ravens like to play. You know, I think he's a nice piece, a nice number 2 to have there. And then you talk about Arthur Mollett. I think Nate Wiggins is going to be really good. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Denzel Ward, right? The super slight body. You worry about him having issues with durability. It's the same thing that's followed Denzel Ward, but Denzel Ward's still been able to be a premier player in spite of that. And I think a lot of corners are able to be premier. Like if Tay Smith can live at wide receiver, I feel like you could live at DB being built like Nate Wiggins. So I think Nate's going to be pretty damn good. And I'm interested to see where you put him. Do I count Kyle Hamilton in the corner room conversation or in the slot conversation?
That is
true. In the safety.
You count him as a safety, even though he plays the slot.
He does play the slot, but remember, well, they just signed another safety. I think for those times that they want to play the 3 safety, we're kind of
Eddie Jackson, right? You got to sign Eddie Jackson.
Yep.
Damn, blast from the pass, Eddie Jackson.
Yeah,
for the Bears.
For the Bears, yep.
Still in the league. Of course, he pops up on Baltimore's roster. Right?
I knew it. They were gonna say that.
Oh man. But yeah, I don't. So what? We just going to ignore the fact that he plays corner.
He's a safety. He plays safety.
Hold on. Let me see where his stats are though. Like, because this seriously does change. He took 465 snaps at slot.
Yeah.
An additional what? Okay, he only took 5 at wide, which they don't want to use him there anymore. He took 301 free safety snaps and 236 box snaps, which like the box snaps, he could be playing safety. He could be playing corner. This man a corner.
The reason why they put him in
this man a corner
is because they had Geno and Williams, right? So they want to have Geno on the field playing at the same time. So they move him around. I'm just letting you know.
But so it seems like with Geno going, is Eddie Jackson going to play the Geno role or?
No, I seen the one with Kyle. I think they like moving Kyle all over the place because he's so tall, right? When he blitzes sometimes out of the field, out of the corner, out of the nickel, he's so tall that he has batted passes against. I know Q remembers the one that he batted against the Cleveland and took it for 6.
I'm still stuck on it. So does Mike Hilton count as a safety now?
No, Mike Hilton is a nickel corner. They moved him to safety because that's how bad the safeties were last season.
Mike Hilton plays safety as much as
Kyle
Hamilton do. What's Kyle Hamilton's number one role? What's Kyle Hamilton's role in the defense? That'll define it for me.
What do you mean?
Describe his role in the defense. Not as a position, just in responsibility.
Yeah. His responsibility is all over. That's the reality. They put him in nickel. They put him in safety.
No, it's not all over. He don't play wide DB. Like,
No. But okay, so they put him either box, free, or nickel, and they use him in nickel a lot, especially against tight ends. They
when it's nickel packages.
Mm-hmm.
Is he an extra safety or an extra corner?
He's usually an extra corner.
This man is a corner.
I think this year it will change because last year they had two safety that they trust more than Eddie Jackson. That I guess that's my point.
Okay.
So is Eddie Jackson going to line up in the nickel or?
No, I think Eddie Jackson is there for
that. They brought Eddie Jackson. Like, if they didn't think that Kyle Hamilton was a slot corner, he would be playing. They wouldn't have brought in Eddie Jackson. Why did you bring him?
Is it Arthur Millette? Because Arthur Millette is kind of small.
Yeah, so Arthur Millette does play nickel as well. But in the case of this year's roster, right? So last year's roster was a little different. This year's roster, I think. Also, like if all corners are
next year at this point, these are becoming too nebulous because Kyle Hamilton belonging in corner or safety dramatically changes where I rank them.
Yeah,
I would say for Mike Hilton, last year was the first time he's played safety, and it was because those young guys on the back end like Dax. They weren't
the thing
good.
with Kyle Hamilton is when I hear Raven fans talk about him, they talk about him as an elite slot corner.
Well, he may play as a safety too. The Brock Purdy interceptions were as safeties. But anyway, so what I was going to tell you is if everybody's healthy, everybody's healthy, right? And you said, Sonny, who's your secondary? How I think they're going to play the secondary is going to be Wiggins on the outside, Stevens on the outside, Marlowe at the nickel, and then Williams and Kyle on the safety position.
And some people are trying to tell me, oh, well, he only slides down the slot sometimes.
No. Last year he was there a lot.
Yeah.
What has he been lining up at in camp, Sonny? Like for
free?
Because I'm seeing like I don't think this is a new scrimmage, but so you said he's been lining up at free.
Yeah. So basically,
who's lining up at nickel then?
They use Millette. They use Pepe Williams.
There's no way Millette is gonna get.
Millette last year got a lot of reps at nickel, which I didn't particularly.
All right, I'm gonna just see who took the most snaps in coverage at these spots. If he's in the top 5 of slot snaps, then come on. At this point.
He should be in the top 5.
Not top 5. If he's because he took 500 slot corner snaps. I'm like, if that's in the top 5 of your corners, dog, then what are we doing here, ranking him as a safety?
Well, last year they used.
So it looks like Kyle Hamilton spent a lot more in the slot his rookie year than he did last year. Like rookie year, he was in the slot 55% of the time. Last year was 38 and a half, and he was 33% deep. But his rookie year, he was exclusively in the slot. Yeah. So he was 55% in the slot. He was 16% deep. He was 19% in the box.
Which is my point. They've been moving him more on the safety side. Now they have Williams, which is also a free safety, and they want to use them interchangeably. They want to use box free, both of them. So you don't know which one's going to be box, which one's going to be free at any given play.
You guys have lined them up at linebacker
to remove Kyle Hamilton from consideration on rankings, and that the Ravens have to be ranked without considering Kyle Hamilton's contribution to room because he does not belong in any room. I make that motion.
What? No, I'm gonna rank
the senator from Cleveland makes that motion.
Senator from Maryland denies.
We must remove him from the ballot. Ace gets the final say. He's the third party.
I mean, it depends on what his role is. I think he does play a lot in the slot, but for the safety show, are we considering him for the safety position?
We're just going to consider him a safety.
Yes,
that's what the Ravens consider him.
Yes.
They say he plays safety.
Yes,
but then didn't you guys have an injury to Marcus Williams or something last year?
Is Marcus Williams still on the team?
So when Marcus Williams was hurt, did Kyle Hamilton move back to safety and he played less nickel?
Exactly.
It's hard to say.
So he's the starting free safety.
Yeah, him and Williams. So because remember, Williams is a free safety as well. So they're both frees. Kyle
I'm
is
gonna
better.
go with
But Marcus
Kyle
technically
Hamilton.
starts on the strong.
Yeah, I think they want to have Kyle.
Well, no, Kyle would be the strong because he in the box.
Yeah, so if you want to pencil him a position, yes, Kyle will be a strong. But what they have said is they want to have it interchangeable. That Kyle can
Where do they have him on the depth chart?
I think a strong, probably. Let me see.
But the interesting thing is, didn't it used to be Marlon that played in the slot, and then they just start moving Kyle there?
So Marlon used to be outside, and then when we have Peters and what's it, Averett? Anyway, there was a time we had two good corners that couldn't play slot. So they put Marlon. Marlon will be in the slot. And once Peters went back or left, Marlon went back to outside.
Went back outside.
And I think with Wiggins here and Stevens on the other side, I think Marlon's the one they're going to put in the slot. That's why I say all things considered.
That's what I was wondering too. Like, is Marlon going back to the slot? Like,
I think
because they got Wiggins and
yeah. And
you think so? I thought about that before the show. I'm like, this kind of looks like Marlon could play in the slot.
Yep. I think Marlon, you will see him more in the slot. That doesn't mean that, like, obviously one of the other two guys gets injured. You can see Marlon go back on the
outside for sure.
But that's
and he can move outside and inside. That's the good about him having the flexibility. So, like, if Jamar Chase goes in the slot, I'm pretty sure he's going to the slot. Or if he goes outside, I'm pretty sure he's going to follow Chase outside.
That's why I said all things, if everybody's healthy, that's the lineup. But anyway, before we move then to our number 2, let's hear from our sponsor real quick.
What's up, everybody? Chris here from Chris Gates Fitness and the online fitness training camp. I would love to see you in training camp this month. We have the August program, which just launched. Everybody's diving into it and having a blast doing some football-specific exercises. We have football pick'em coming at the end of this month where I'm going to be giving away free supplements to winners. We're doing a step count challenge in September. Going to be giving away a treadmill for that. So there's lots of fun stuff coming. AFC North Podcast has a discount code. Make sure you hit the link, head over to the website, sign up, and I will see you in training camp.
So go check in the description below. All the information is there, promo code and everything. Go check my boy Chris program. Really good program. I dab it in a little bit around. You guys know that wife is pregnant, about to have a baby, but I have been dabbling a little bit there. Go check him out. Go support him, and go use that promo code. Okay.
Man, NFL Twitter has just been negative. Like, what's been up with the negativity lately, football fans? Like, it seems like y'all just like negative. Like, I've been reading the chat. Ain't nobody uplifting they boys. Everybody just talking about what everybody else don't got. Whatever happened to them?
Well, it's this time.
Where's that one dude? We need Nova Stone to come in here and tell us the joke.
Wait.
There we go.
Oh, there he is.
We need it. He has arrived.
Nova Stone in the super chat here says, "Do you think the Ravens should sign Gilmore?"
Nova Stone, I agree with you. Just because you came in at the right time.
I don't think.
How old is Stephon Gilmore?
He's 30. I think he's 30.
That'll give me all the answers I need. 30 is young for a Raven, so I don't know if they'd sign him at 30.
That's prime age for a Raven. What you mean? A 30-year-old quarter? That he gonna lock shit up.
He's 33. Oh, he's 33.
Oh, yeah, perfect. That's
he's
like
a Raven.
That's like a vintage wine from like the 30s.
And 30 for the Ravens is like 27, dog.
Does it
like
make it, Sonny? Do you find it ironic that the Ravens training facility also resembles a winery? I don't. I find it to be a true tell of what's going on in there. Yeah, it looks like. You ever been there, Ace, to the Ravens facility?
I have not. I heard it's nice though. I heard
I met Sonny there, right? I think that's how I met Sonny, right? Walked up there, it looks like a winery. Like it is you would not believe you're in Baltimore.
It's in the outside of Baltimore.
Yeah, because you drive around and you're like, where the am I? Like you don't even think you're on the East Coast anymore. It's just hills and trees, and then you pull in, and then it's like this castle. You like, where did I just go to Martha's Vineyard? Like,
it's nice, and they treat you well, and you're there.
Yeah, they gave us like free ices and Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
It was nice. I was like, damn, the Browns don't do us like this. Now I ain't gonna lie, Ace. I went to that Bengals camp, dog. It was sad when I went out there. It was before y'all had the indoor too. I remember I was like, yo, dog. first time I seen it. Cardboard trash can, Cincinnati Bengals training camp. That was the first time I had ever seen it. And a pro football team cross the street in cleats. Never seen that before.
Oh man, the 188 with another super shout out to you, man. Because
by the way, like the difference between the security levels and like Ravens camp, you can't even pull your phone out without like security popping up. I swear to God, you could walk onto Bengals camp field and like they might notice you after like 10 minutes because like there was like a string separating you from like the players. So like, it was real accessible.
Yeah,
I'll say
in Baltimore, basically, once Harp says practice starts, you can't have your phone out. If you hear that, you need to get behind the bleachers and make the call. They're not playing with that.
On the bleachers to make a call? That's crazy.
Yeah, because they don't want you to see.
So have they always been like this?
This is how John Harbaugh is paranoid. The Harbaughs are paranoid.
Yeah, that's the Harbaugh thing.
You know why they paranoid, Ace? Because they be cheating. It's projection, right? Who you know? What family got a cheating? What family got a cheating scandal going on? Why do you think they be worried about all this cheating going on? They gonna get our footage because they be cheating. Because they be cheating.
It's the whiny Harbaugh.
I don't know. It was a drone that flew over the Cincinnati practice field one time. I don't know.
We know how the Harbaughs get down. Sonny, they like 2 years apart, ain't they? They look like they could be twins. Nah, dog. They be cheating. Like, come on. Yeah, you gonna convince me that they're two different people when they both got the same profession? Nah, come on. Come on. Like,
nah. I can't. I mean, Harsh has never been. Our Harps have never been.
Hey, dog, I'm just going to tell you this. Look at the organizations out there that be super scared about locking down the security in the information pipeline going on to certain things. Those are usually the ones that be doing it. That's all I'm saying.
Belichick was luring around. So he knew Belichick was luring around. So
look, it's a reason the CIA don't want you recording because they would be recording too if they was you. And that's how the Harbaughs get down. They do a lot of stuff that feel like the State Department. I'm like, y'all be cheating, dog. It's okay. We know y'all be cheating. We found out they be cheating. The extent to which the Harbaughs be cheating. But they be cheating. By the way, shout out to Jim Harbaugh, man. You cheated, got caught, and then just got a different job. Like, I ain't never seen somebody exploit the flaws of the college football system more like Jim Harbaugh because that man got a promotion for cheating.
Yeah, that was crazy. Anyway, CV ranking for the 188 here: Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I have to say, he put his Steelers third. So.
Surprise.
After I done yelled at him. I got him right. You know, you're welcome. You're welcome to 188. I accept it.
Says we need to get a Steelers fan on here to have someone back them up and hear more.
Ain't nobody back up the Steelers.
Like Brandon Aiyuk. Like Brandon Aiyuk, they didn't show up today.
Y'all acting like J-Rock don't be out here saying that the Steelers got the best defensive line in history. like yo, J-Rock defends the Steelers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe get that mad at Sonny when he just be reasonable about the Ravens. Like they're
gonna be in the top two. One thing about J-Rock, they're gonna be in the top two for sure.
Oh yeah. Okay. 2 8. Actually, you can do 2 and 1 if you want.
At 2, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals. One of the main reasons I have them here is CTB and Mike Hilton. Last year, CTB had a really good season, only allowed 56.7 completion percentage, had 4 interceptions, really doesn't miss tackles. Like they call them Cam Taylor hit, so 7.4% missed tackle rate. Last year, he was able to really shine. I remember watching him go against who am I thinking of? The wide receiver, the muscular wide receiver from the Seahawks. I don't know why his name. DK Metcalf. He had a really good game against DK Metcalf. He really was the best corner last season. It wasn't even close between him and Cheeto. I think he's somebody that they could look to extend in the next coming years. So I think CTB is really good. DJ Turner was a mixed bag for like the 8, probably about like through week 10, he was really good. And then later on in the season, it was a little bit of a disaster. He always seems to be in the right place, but he never makes the play. So I think he just needs some polish from that standpoint. But honestly, the biggest shock has been kind of Dax Hill. I think Dax Hill is actually in a competition with DJ Turner as it stands now. And because I got a sneak peek at what Dax looked like at outside corner, I do think that there's a real shot that he could start outside and get pretty good snaps and be a pretty good, solid corner on the outside. Now, as Sunday says, it remains to be seen. But from what I saw, and I think we'll see more this weekend, he played a long time. He played against starters, and he was actually pretty good. He was always near the ball. Now, I don't know if that has to do with his athleticism, given that he runs the 4.3, but I really liked him there. When it comes to some of the rookies, we had a rookie that Josh Newton, who I think is a dark horse as well. He adds a lot of depth to the room. He had an interception this previous game. So I think Josh Newton is a guy that could potentially move up. He's even had some veteran guys. I think CTB actually co-signed him and said that he's going to help them win ball games. So it's going to be interesting what his role will be. But at the end of the day, it's a really young room. It's the second youngest room in the division. And so they could take lumps here and there. Like, that's a real possibility. You also have DJ Ivy, who kind of looked good for them. He's coming back. But it's a very young room. The Bengals are trusting in that young room. They say that they don't want to bring any veterans in there. So we'll see. I think what will help them, though, and what hurt them a lot last season was the safety play was so bad. There was so much miscommunication back there. Now that they have Von Bell back there, Geno Stone, I think that that'll help them out. Like I mentioned, like, it was so bad last year. Mike Hilton had to go back to play safety last season. So it was really bad for them. But I'm going to bet on the youth movement that they're making there and really CTB and Mike Hilton. Like, Mike Hilton, to me, is one of the top nickel corners in the league. He can do it all, whether it's blitzing, whether it's, going out there to make a tackle, whatever you need. Sometimes, like Tony used to say on this show, he can be a liability sometimes in coverage if you put somebody that's like 6'5" on him, because he's only like 5'8". So that's where he kind of gets in trouble. But Mike Hilton actually had a really good season last year, actually one of his best for the Bengals. So that's the reason that I have them too. And of course, I mean, we already knew the Browns were number one coming into this show, right? Like, when you have Denzel Ward, when you have Greg Newsome in the slot, when you have MJ on the outside, like, that's all you really need, dog. And the fact that they're 24 years old in terms of their average, that's good. You look at the quarterback rating for this team, it's 69 on average through all of those guys. They also have pretty much every metric in the division. They're doing pretty good on. They average the most interceptions, the lowest completion percentage, 54% for them, lowest yards per completion, lowest yards per target. Like, they've been pretty much balling. The only weakness that they have is just the missed tackle rate. It's the lowest in the division, or I guess the highest in the division at 13%. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know how much you really need your corners to tackle. Like, Deion never was a tackler, so I don't really think you need your corners to tackle like that. But this is clearly an elite cornerback room, probably one of the tops in the NFL, maybe the top cornerback room in the NFL. So, of course, I got to have the Browns at number one.
So this is the thing. I have the Ravens 2, right? And the reason why I have them 2, which is different from you and Q, is because of the depth. Now, as I said, I think some of the Bengals corners are inconsistent. In the case of the Ravens, you have Marlowe with multiple injuries last year. Before that, he's been a good corner. Stevens had a coming to Jesus moment last year and played really good. Really good. I think he looked like top corner most of the year. CB1. Can he repeat that, right? Or was it a one-year fluke? And then Mollett, I'm not a big fan of Mollett. But then you have Pepper Williams, a good kid that I think could be good. Amari's Washington, that he plays free safety but nickel, that I do like as a slot corner. Who else? Armour Davis, one of you guys mentioned Armour Davis. Armour Davis is a guy that this is year 3 for him, and this is the year that he should be taking a step up. And I can, in the preseason, he played good. Not as good as Wiggins, but he played good, solid. Let's call it solid. So the Ravens have, I think, in my opinion, they have at least 6 or 7 corners that they feel good. Now, Nate Wiggins in the preseason played outstanding. Like, I was seeing this guy, I'm like, oh my God. I don't remember having a Ravens corner that played this good for the first time. But it was the preseason. As I told some Ravens fan, they were like, "Oh my God, Sonny, do you see Nate Wiggins?" Yes, I saw him. Saw him in person. He looked great. But it was also the preseason, and we had to temper expectation. You're not gonna go against Kenny 2 gloves every game, right? And he was glued to the receivers on comeback routes, on go routes. I love everything I saw. But again, I want to see it built. And again, I always say this. I'm always trying to be consistent. For me, rookies are still an enigma until they start playing. Even Kyle Hamilton, you saw that we all love in Baltimore. We saw those first couple games. That game against Miami that we were winning by 21 late in the third. It was Kyle Hamilton missed assignment twice for 2 bombs. Boom, game is back in, and then we lose the game. So we have to see with the rookies. The rookies are always learning. But I do think the Ravens have the potential to be also a top corner in the whole league room. Top corner room in the whole league. And I do like Nate. I think he is tough kid. We'll see what his frame, like you said, that's definitely something that worries me. But overall, I think the Ravens have the room to go toe-to-toe with most teams in the NFL, especially if everybody's clicking. And then number one.
Real quick, Sonny. So because I saw a report, and now I don't know if this is old and things have changed, but they tried to say that Jalen Armour-Davis was on the roster bubble.
So the thing with Armour-Davis is last year he was definitely in a roster bubble.
Okay.
This year, this team, I think one of the things they wanted to do was just bring depth. So you have the 3 corners, right? The main 3. And then you have a bunch of others that the team is like, whoever plays best makes a team. I think the Ravens are going to end up cutting a couple of good corners that should be in a roster somewhere else. I wouldn't say that for every position in this team, but corner, definitely. I think we're going to end up cutting 1 or 2 corners that they could be in a roster, another team contributing. So can he be in the bubble? Yeah, but it's because also there's a lot of depth behind, like overall in this team. But I think as of right now, I don't think he is in the cut or in the shopping block, especially how he played game 1 in the preseason. Going back to my number 1, the Browns. Look, the Browns is the only team that can claim here that has true, legitimate Pro Bowl corners. And was my other dude also a Pro Bowl?
Emerson.
Emerson.
I think he made it as an alternate.
Okay,
but I don't think he was true Pro Bowl though.
Okay, but you legitimately can say they had 3 Pro Bowl level corner. I don't know if anybody in the league can say that. Like, I was trying to think who else in the league can say that. I know Baltimore's not there. I cannot think of anybody. There are leaps and bounds. Like, I was seeing the fan vote, and the fan vote has the Cleveland Browns by a lot, and then the Ravens by a lot over the Bengals, and then the Steelers barely getting any votes. And I'm surprised because, like I said, I have the Ravens too, but I think there's not that wide of a gap. The Browns should be that wide of a gap because they are definitely, we're talking about top tier in the league. The only if you say, Sonny, so what is their flaw of this corner room? Is health. Can they stay healthy? That's their main thing. That's the main concern with Ward. That's the main concern with Newton, right? But that. Newsom, sorry. But other than that, when these 3 are in the field, we're talking about a special unit. And then you add the pass rush. This is why the Browns defense is so good. Because you add the pass rush to that really strong corner unit, and you have a hell of a defense. So that's my 2 and 1. I have a super chat, and then I'm going to go with Q. This is Noah Stone, and he's on par here with the Tom Brady super chat.
There we go.
Tom is waiting for a QB to go down to get
there we go.
Ring number 8.
Minnesota. Is Tom going to go to Minnesota, play with Jettas?
He might.
Not behind that offensive line. Have you heard what Myles Garrett has been doing to them? Yeah. I saw a picture come out. It was Myles, and his jersey looked like a loincloth. I was like, it was holding on, dog. That's crazy.
Hugh, who's your 2 and 1?
Oh, my 2 and 1. I have to go Baltimore 2, Cleveland 1.
You have Baltimore 3.
Oh no, my bad. Cincinnati 2, Cleveland 1. That's how close it was. Cincinnati, I like the room overall. I think they got some good young players. the loss of, because I think Cheeto kind of became that number one kind of anchor for the Bengals in the secondary for at least a couple of years. They don't really got that anymore. It could be on the way with one of the young guys popping up. I think that's the one thing that makes me kind of worry about it. But the depth overall is so good, and with corners, you definitely want depth because one of them gonna go out for a little bit at some point during the season. So I like that they have multiple guys in there. You feel good about, even they got their Rashad Bateman DB project and Dax Hill out here. It's better to have he'll be your number 2 corner though. Like, let me tell you. Wait, Rashad Bateman the number 2 wide receiver?
Ours, yeah.
What is he? He's a starting Z, right?
Yes.
Ooh, it's tough.
We'll be fine. I think
Jose Flowers, dog. He gonna take so many hits this year because that ball is only coming to Zay.
Oh no, the Titans also be there.
Nelson. Well, Aguilar, I saw a report that he dropped the deep ball and Lamar threw his helmet. Was that true?
I'm not sure. That could be exaggeration, but that's Nelson, right? That is on par with Nelson. That's his whole career.
Yeah. Lamar is gonna be a little frustrated, but it's all right, bro. You good?
Yeah, running. That's what
it feels like the Ravens patch Lamar Jackson. Like every year he wins the MVP, they're like, "Yo, let me nerf you real quick. You're too OP." But let's talk about the Browns here. The Browns, and here's what I think makes the Browns one of the best secondaries in the NFL. It's not just the talent, right? Like Martin Emerson is very talented. Greg Newsom's very talented. Denzel Ward is very talented. But it's the fit with all 3 of those guys. I kind of equate it to the same thing that the 49ers have with Aiyuk, Debo, and Juwan Jennings. Because you look at Brandon Aiyuk, that's their man guy, right? Like that's their man beater. That's the guy who's going to beat man coverage 9 times out of 10. For the Browns, their man stopper is Denzel Ward, best man corner in the NFL for my money, right? Like straight up man to man in those kind of situations. Nobody has the kind of recovery speed that he has. He's gone and gotten put on the island with some guys who have incredible recovery speed, right? We talk about it all the time with Uno out there in Cincinnati. Some of the best recovery speed, some of the best agility you've seen. The only guy I've ever seen do a catch up and get an interception off him is Denzel Ward. Right, that just speaks to the recovery speed there with Denzel. And when you talk about man-to-man corners, that's what makes somebody a good man, because you're gonna get beat in man, right? Yeah. When you're a corner, it's gonna happen. It's too much space for you not to get beat. It's if you can recover that makes you a great man corner. So the Browns have that. Then, just like how Debo beats zone coverage, that's Martin Emerson on the other end. Martin Emerson is a lockdown zone cover corner. And I don't know if you guys have seen some of the stuff that's come out with him covering Justin Jefferson during joint practices. And like he ready. Like he kind of shut down Justin Jefferson in these joint practices, not just because the quarterback plays bad, but he's just locked to his hip. And when you have a second corner that you can feel comfortable saying, hey, he can get on Justin Jefferson in certain situations, especially zone coverage situations, that's a secondary you feel great about. And then the Juwan Jennings of the Browns secondary is Greg Newsome, right? Somebody who, if somebody's hurt, he can go outside, be fine. He can slide inside, play the slot if he needs to, can kind of just be wherever he needs to be. You can have him in 3 wide sets. You could put him in 3 wide bunch left. You could do a bunch of different things with him. Same thing with Greg Newsome. And I think that's what makes this secondary so well tuned behind him. Now, the one issue where I am concerned about the Browns is they lost some depth pieces, right? AJ Green III was a depth corner that they had. Now they're replacing them with guys like Justin Hardy and some more special teams guys. They do still have Cam Mitchell, who I think is a really good backup corner, especially a backup slot. So they still have some depth there. It's just not as deep as it was, where I could say confidently the Browns could probably go 5 deep. Now you're talking about 4 deep and then Khalif Halisi, right? Like, and then once you get to Khalif Halisi, he might have a good game, he might not. But this secondary, I think the fit of skill sets and how they complement each other and complement this defense is what puts them over the top and what makes them so dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely we're, like I said, one of the top tiers in the division, in the league. Let's see this fan vote here real quick. We had the Browns with 55%, so definitely a majority of everyone. And then the Ravens with
got
30.
a plurality of votes.
Yeah.
In a 14 race. Wow.
54%. Yeah, it's not normal, right? And I think that makes sense. And then the Ravens with 30%, Bengals with 11%, and the Steelers with 4%. That is the voting for you. Who's the 4?
Like, serious question. Who the 4? How did they get the 4%?
I don't know. They have almost 250 votes. I don't know how many people.
This got to be like what, 20 people?
We know our guy that has been super chatting us, the 188. He didn't rank them one.
There's no way that's 4% of the
But
audience.
it's supposed to be who's the best in the division, right? So like 100% should have went to the Browns. Like, to be honest.
Well,
fair enough.
We know that 4% of the audience has dementia. Like,
oh man, that's brutal.
suffers from delusions of grandeur.
Well, now, guys, we're talking about this week. We have preseason game number 2. We're gonna be doing the safety room the following week, and then record prediction before the season starts. So you have to tune in.
I want my resolution voted on. We should not have to Kyle Hamilton. We'll do a Kyle Hamilton ranking show.
Yeah, just Kyle Hamilton, because
we'll just rank slashes. We'll just bring all our slashes to the table, and whoever wins that battle wins that battle.
But will we have a safety show next week, and then we're gonna go prediction time as the season is almost here, which is kind of crazy. I appreciate everybody here, guys. Make sure you sub, hit the bell so you can know when we come live. We'll see you next time.
Peace
out.